Krull is a fantasy science fiction movie that was released in the summer of 1983. With a then monster budget of $25 million, it of course wanted to jump into the video game market. The movie itself has now become a cult classic, along with the likes of Flash Gordon and Clash of the Titans. It is one of the best musical scores of any movie of the time by James Horner, and co-stars a very young Liam Neeson. I've always enjoyed Krull the movie, even to this day, and I especially enjoy Krull the video games. Gottleib released an arcade version in '83 to coincide with the movie's release. They had also planned for a Krull-themed pinball machine, but only prototypes were made, and it never went into production because it was deemed too expensive to make with its 3 playfields and extra-wide body. The arcade video game, however, did hit the arcades, as did a home version for Atari's 2600 that was originally slated to be an Atari 5200 game. Both games try to follow sequences from the movie. I really like the angle that Gottlieb chose to use on this mountain climbing scene, instead of the side mountain climbing that we're used to seeing in games like Jungle Hunt, where you're looking straight at this mountain going uphill. Now, it gets pretty intense. The longer you dilly-dally, the faster the boulders come. And one of the things that I like to employ is trying to climb up the sides of the mountains. That seems to be the safest, and trying to diagonally go down with the flow of the boulders. That seems to be the best. Once you collect all 5 pieces, it's on to the next stage. So as you run around, you're trying to gather up your men who are scattered amongst the swamp here, as the Slayers are hurling their spears at you. Now, you have the ability to throw multiple glaives, which is not true in the movie, but for the game purposes, I guess they employed it because it seems like a better idea for a weapon. And it's very much like Robotron, because if you look at the joystick controls of Krull, there is no fire button. You have 2 joysticks, one for movement and one for releasing your glaives in different directions. This is a lot harder than it looks, because you have to avoid the trees, the obvious spears that are coming at you, and then of course the Slayers themselves, and as the numbers dwindle of the Slayers, they come at you faster and faster. Now, this part of the game doesn't have a direct correlation to anything in the movie that I can find. Basically, it's more of the last board, where you have to run around and gather up your men, and then get them to a safe zone, which in this case would be this hexagon that floats around the screen. You put them all in there and you'll clear the board. At the same time, of course, the Slayers are coming out of the ground and they're throwing their spears at you. Your glaives aren't as effective in this one because they bounce around and they hit obstacles, so it's a little harder. And of course your men aren't cooperating because they're running nilly-willy instead of running towards you. Again, here's a board that doesn't have really a direct correlation, except there is a part where the princess is in some kind of a dome, but your men are trapped in here. Probably because you put them in this hexagon thing from the last board. But nevertheless, you have to get them out by hitting the front of this hexagon when it's black. If you hit it when it's green, your glaive will stick and you lose one of your glaives for a while until it turns black again. Again, the Slayers are all swarming on you. It could be difficult, it could be easy. It all depends on your position. This is one of the most anticlimactic endings I think I've ever seen in any game. Gottleib could have done so much more with this part of the game, but I guess because they need the game to have multiple levels. If you defeat the beast, it'll just restart harder. So you can't really kill the beast. Instead, you have your men coming in chasing him off when you touch Lissa. There were so many memorable scenes in the movie Krull that two different companies could do two different games and use many different scenes. The Atari 2600 went on and expanded on other scenes that the Gottleib game did not touch on. For instance, the wedding scene. Here we have Prince Corwin and Princess Lissa ready to exchange their vows, but the Slayers invade the palace. And basically, you have to defend her as long as you can, as the Slayers get faster and faster. There really is no way to prevent her from being taken. The trick is to try to get as many Slayers as you can without being killed yourself, and racking up points and maybe some lives. You have to watch out for those swords. You can always go on the right side of them to try to avoid getting hit, but eventually she will be captured. The arcade version of Krull is all action, but the Atari 2600 version is more of a thinking man's game, and this scene shows why. In the movie, the beast lives in a fortress that disappears with the dawning of every day, and you have to discover where this fortress is by going to the spider. And how we do this is we have to make it to the center of the web, to that gray box at the top. And there's an hourglass up in the upper right-hand corner there. Once we get in there, it's revealed to us where the right portal is to get the fortress. You have to get back to it, again, avoiding the spider, and the webs don't help, and make it out that before the next dawning of the day. The only way to get to the Black Fortress in time is to ride the fire mares. And if you've gotten the right portal and you've timed it just right, you'll be successful. If you've gotten the wrong portal, you will be disappointed to find out there is no fortress and you have to go back to the spider to get the right location all over again. On the way, you can pick up extra men or extra glaives that appear on the ground, but you have to press the button exactly when you're above them. And there is the fortress. Haha, so Beast, we finally meet. And you smack me. Okay, here we have the final showdown, and it's basically Yar's Revenge turned counterclockwise. You see the princess there behind the shield, and you chip away at it with your glaive. I've got just one glaive. It would be helpful if I had more than one, and just one extra life. Now, this is a much more entertaining ending than I think of the arcade version. And it's much harder, as far as I'm concerned. If the beast catches your glaive, he will destroy it, and it doesn't return back to you. And if you miss the glaive on the return back, you lose it. So it's very difficult. Once you get the princess free, you can finally put an end to the beast's reign, but it is not easy. Oh no. Okay, weaponless and in big trouble.